Chef Don McMillan, and we're going to create the best ever vegetable lasagna. Today, I'm going to make the best vegetarian lasagna. What you say, vegetarian lasagna? I thought lasagna had to have meat. Come on. We all need to eat our vegetables. And what better way to get our kids to eat vegetables? Put them in the lasagna. Who does not like lasagna? We're going to cook a great lasagna. I'm going to use a variety of vegetables. You may want to use some different ones. That's your call, okay? But please, comment, let me know what you think about vegetarian lasagna. Maybe you've got a recipe or some different ideas I'd love to share. I want to get back to you on that. Definitely you want to subscribe, and of course you want to like and also share with your friends, because we're all good chefs and we're cooking together. We want to share these recipes. That's what makes it so much fun. Speaking of fun, let's go ahead and get started. I'm Chef Don McMillan, and we're going to create the best ever vegetable lasagna. For our vegetable lasagna, look at this arrangement we have. I have some dried oregano, some hot peppers, not too much, fresh garlic. I have here the Javanese, or sometimes called Japanese eggplant. This particular eggplant does not need to be salted. I know sometimes you can say, well, I hate eggplant. Well, when you use the American eggplant, that's the big bulbous one, you definitely have to slice it and salt it and drain it, because that'll take out that astringency. Kind of tastes like cardboard. If you do that, you're gonna love lasagna, you're gonna love eggplant, I'm telling you. So, but we're using this eggplant. It does not have to be salted ahead of time. Okay, zucchini, yellow squash, fresh parsley, Italian parsley, and fresh mushrooms. Now I want to show you something with the fresh mushrooms. I want you to remember that I've got so many tips to share, so you got to stay attached, because I'm going to be throwing them out left and right. But these are important things that you need to know to become quite a good cook. I've been cooking for most of my life. I like to share what I've learned. You see how they package these mushrooms in a plastic wrap? When you buy them like this, the first thing you should do, okay, is to remove the plastic wrap. Take it off. What's going to happen is your mushrooms are going to get soggy and gooey, and actually might even smell, so you don't want this plastic wrap. Just leave it like this, uncovered, and put it in your refrigerator, okay? Now, once you put it in your refrigerator, okay, it may dry out a little bit. Not a problem. When mushrooms dry out, because they're almost 99% water, when mushrooms dry out, the flavor stays in. I mean, when you look at Asian style, when they cook with mushrooms, they're almost always using dried mushrooms. Reconstitute it with a little bit of water, because its key is the flavor, and everything you do is about the flavor. Next thing I want to show you, look at this. Now you call this dirt, but it's actually meclamite. All mushrooms have that. The first thing you want to do is say, I'm going to rinse these things off. Don't do it. Remember I told you these are loaded with water? They're sponges. You don't want to put more water in your food. So to do that, I just take a paper towel and I just lightly dust off that meclamite. Now don't worry about, my goodness, well, I'm afraid to eat it. My mother always told me that you got to eat a peck of dirt before you die. Not a problem, okay? Just knock some of that off, just so you don't see it. It's going to disappear into the food. Anyway, I got to tell you about this recipe, because I have a cooking school and we teach cooking classes. And my oldest son, Donald, he is addicted to lasagna. If he was ever on an island by himself and he had only one thing to eat, you can always bet it was going to be lasagna. And it really, I mean, he would eat the frozen lasagna, he'd eat the lasagna I ate. As long as it was lasagna, he was happy. That was his one meal to stay. Well, that lasagna didn't want to go in the pot, did it? Not a problem. We got more. So one day I was making this recipe, vegetarian lasagna. Now, as I told you, he loves lasagna. He was watching the TV when I got home. I walked in the door. He didn't even look up, didn't say a thing. He just said, Dad, did you make lasagna? I said, sure did. Wow, thank you, Dad. So I set the lasagna on the counter. I go upstairs, take a shower, come back down. Half the lasagna is gone. Half the lasagna is gone. Did I say my son hated mushrooms? Did I say that? He despised mushrooms. If I said mushrooms, he wouldn't even look, okay? If he thought there was mushrooms in the food, he would just pass it by. However, when I came downstairs, half the pan of lasagna was gone. I told you he loved lasagna, right? So I said, man, I said, you really like that lasagna? Yeah, Dad, it was pretty good, but you know what? It tasted a little bit funny. He said, what kind of meat did you use? Did you use beef? I said, no, there's no beef in this. He said, oh, then you use lamb. I said, no lamb. He said, you didn't use pork or veal? I said, no. He said, well, what kind of meat did you use? I said, I didn't use meat. Now, a light bulb goes on in his head. He gets the fork out. He starts digging. He don't see any meat. He said, this is not vegetarian lasagna, is it? I said, sure is. I said, you must have thought those mushrooms were meat. So there it goes. If I tell you you can get your kids to eat vegetables by making lasagna, you don't want a better example than that. Of course, after that, he was pretty cautious about my lasagnas, but what the heck, right? And see, I'm almost got all this dusted off. Don't soak them in water. Don't rinse them in water. If you do, they will absorb more water that's in there already, and you don't want that to happen. And this meculite, it's sanitized dirt anyway, so just knock it off so you don't see too much of it, okay? That goes away. We'll throw that away. Let me rinse my hands off a little bit. So, there's our mushrooms. Now, I like to use the caps and I like to use the stems when I'm making mushrooms. Sometimes, like for shiitake mushrooms would be a good example. That little piece in the stem is just too hard and doesn't cook up. But these are button mushrooms. They will cook up very well. Mushrooms will disappear, so try not to cut them too small, unless you want them to disappear, in which case cut them as small as you wish. But I'm just going to quarter my mushrooms here with the stems. Caps and stems, just quarter them. As I said, they're primarily water anyway, so they are going to dissipate in the pan when I cook them. I like the mushrooms for a reason. I like the texture and I like the chew of them, and I really feel that in a lasagna that they hold their own. I also use them in a lot of other dishes to add an extra kick to it. Some of your dried mushrooms definitely have more flavor, and of course your wild mushrooms are loaded with flavor. So if you want some more mushroom flavor, shiitake mushrooms would really do a good job for you. Just remember that those stems at the very end are pretty tough. Okay, so our mushrooms are ready. The process I'm going to show you in cooking this, because they have so much moisture, I'm really not going to put them in the pan right away. Okay, but I do going to put them off to the side because I will use them. All right, next thing I want to show you is we have some parsley. And so I'm going to add parsley to our cheese mixture, but I'm going to go ahead and chop it up while I'm cutting up vegetables. Put it in your hand like that. Place it on your cutting board. Hold your knife like this, thumb here on the bolt, and then just slice down in this manner. Turn it around and slice again, and then put your hand on top of the knife and go back and forth and give it a nice dice. Smells so good. Don't use that dried parsley. It really won't give you the flavor you're looking for, and everything we do is about the flavor. Okay, let's set that off to the side. I'm going to cut up our vegetables. Depending how big they are, I might want to cut them just a little bit smaller. You saw how the mushrooms are about that size, so I would not want to cut my vegetables too much bigger than that. Although remember, they are going to cook down because they also have a lot of moisture in them. So what I'm going to do is this part I'll cut here, and then on that part I'll just cut it right through. Place the flat one down like that, and then just go ahead and we'll do some slices. If you wish to be smaller, you certainly could dice it. I'd really like to see the vegetables when they're cooking, so I don't want to dice them too small. So that's why I did this one separate, because now I cut that body there. And you see how my fingertips are curls. I have the monster grip. I have a firm grip on my knife because my most important tools are my two hands. So please keep that in mind. Now again, it may seem like a lot of vegetables, but it really, when we start to cook, the moisture will start to evaporate out of the vegetables. So, yellow squash, zucchini, cut it long ways, flat side down, long ways like that, and then we'll just dice that, slice it right there, just like that. Did you see the color? There's lots of wonderful color here. So please keep that in mind when you're cooking, because we always eat with our eyes and it has to really look good as well. Okay, and I did leave the skin on. I don't see any purpose of cutting it off because we are using these vegetables. And so I've got a purple, a green, and a yellow, and of course the white interior as well. So eggplant, let's cut through there, there. We won't use the ends, but we will use the skin on the outside. Look how beautiful. Love this. Let's go ahead and do the same thing again. We'll just cut right through the center, and then we'll make a nice slice. If you have a sharp knife, you can do this. If not, then you want to use a steel to keep your knives sharp. If I was using your other eggplant, the big one, at this point I'd put it off to the side, toss it with a little bit of salt, and then put it on a paper towel so it would drain. You'll see a little dark substance coming out of it, and that's the astringency, and this way it'll be much, much more flavorful. Okay, now let's go ahead and cook these vegetables, and then we're going to add some garlic to it. So I have here my frying pan. Let's turn that on. Put some olive oil in the pan. We want a nice, about 2 tablespoons. And the pan gets hot. Okay, and we'll add in our vegetables. So I am not putting in the mushrooms yet, but the zucchini, yellow squash, eggplant, they're all going to go in there now. And again, this might seem like a lot, but in a little while it'll start cooking down, and you'll see what I mean by that. There's somewhat, I think maybe 80% water. Now, in order to bring out some of the moisture that's already in the vegetables, I'm going to take some salt. So it'll season it as well as help me to extract some of the moisture that's in there naturally. Now, initially, what's going to happen is the vegetables are going to soak up some of the oil that's in the pan, so it might look a little bit dry, but in a very short while, the moisture is going to start weeping out of the vegetables, and then we'll start cooking down. All right, let's add in the rest of our vegetables. See how this looks right now. Zucchini is cooking. Oh my goodness, it smells so good just like that. But it's time to add some more flavor. Oregano. I have dried oregano. Place it in your hand and use your fingers to release the flavor. If you wish, you can just put it in the palm of your hand and do it like this as well. It'll also make your hand smell good too. Okay, I'm going to add in some hot peppers. These are some pepper flakes. You can leave them out if you wish. They don't have to be in there. I just thought I'd wake this up just a little bit here. All right, I also need some black pepper. I did put salt already. So now let's give a little bit of a black pepper in there. And that's about enough of that. Let's give that a little bit of a stir. Okay. And I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil, and then I'm going to add in the garlic and the mushrooms. So a little bit more olive oil, and then the garlic. Look at our garlic here. I just cut down like this. Turn it and cut this way. Same thing with this one. Series of vertical slices. Turn it, more vertical slices. Put it together, put your hand on top, and just chop, chop, chop. Chop, 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 chop. Now, let's get all of that into our dish. Cook it for about a minute. Give it a nice little stir. And we're going to add in our mushrooms. And cook this for about another minute or two. You'll see the mushrooms will start weeping. They'll get smaller in size. I don't want to overcook the mushroom. That's why I didn't put them in there in the beginning, because if I did that, what was going to happen is they would disappear, and I wanted to see them. Now, of course, if you don't want to see them, cut them up small, put them in there a little bit earlier, and the water will just come out and they'll literally just disappear into the sauce. But doesn't that look like a nice mixture right there? If you wish, you can add other vegetables to it. You may want to do, maybe some red onion would look pretty in there, okay? Or maybe if you got some vegetables in your refrigerator that need to be used, I would say go ahead and incorporate them into your vegetarian lasagna. So this recipe is going to be in the description below. So we'd love to share with you. And we also would like to hear your comments, because when you comment, I look at it, gives me an idea of what you're looking at, maybe some of the things you'd like to see, and also I can get back to you and share. Please like. I'd love to thank you for liking us, and I also like to thank you for sharing this with your family and friends, because we all like to cook. That's why we're cooking, and that's why you're watching the channel. Okay, look at our mushrooms. They're just, look, I want you to see them. They're just about ready. Okay, we put the garlic in there close to the end because we didn't want to burn the garlic. Don't like to burn the garlic, but then it'll ruin the dish, and then what are we going to do? Nothing. We're going to have to throw it out and do it over again. We don't want to do that. Look, see this on the bottom here? Okay, look at the bottom here. You see? That's where the sugars came out of the vegetables. Yes, they have sugar in them. They came out. When we put our sauce in there, that is going to come into the sauce and give it even more flavor. So speaking of which, here is our tomato sauce. Check out our video on making a vegetable tomato sauce. It's a tomato sauce, pizza sauce, pasta sauce, whatever you want. You can even freeze it and use it for any of your upcoming dishes. But let's go ahead, put this in here, make it happy. Look, oh man, this is so good. You can even take this sauce and just put it over some spaghetti if you wish, okay? But we're gonna make lasagna. Get it all in there, every last drop. Wonderful, wonderful flavors are going to be married with this fabulous tomato sauce. Now, bring it all together. As you're doing it, scrape the bottom. Remember I told you that sugar was on the bottom? Scrape the bottom. All right, a little bit of scrape, because this liquid from the tomato sauce is actually going to help release it. All right, get all those goodies into the sauce. We worked hard to put them there. We want to take them home with us now. Put them into our sauce. Scrape, 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 and go around. Incorporate, incorporate, incorporate. You don't have to beat it. Maybe you can just fold it if you wish. I don't want these vegetables to get too much out of shape. We already did a little bit with the eggplant, but it's in there. Okay. I wish my son Donald was here. I'd love to give him some of this lasagna and see what his impression, but he may still remember. This happened when he was a teenager, so he's a little older now. All right. Now, what does every good chef do? Taste the food. Let's taste our wonderful vegetable tomato sauce. Oh, man. Oh, yes. It's lasagna making time now, baby. Let's get to it. This is going to be a 3-cheese lasagna. Reggiano Parmesan cheese. Comes from Reggiano, oh my, right from Parma. Delightful. Ricotta. Now this was a skim milk ricotta cheese, okay? See all that water in there? So what I want to do is drain it. Had it been a full fat cheese, ricotta cheese, I would have had to drain it, but because of that, I did drain it. I didn't want all that water into the mixture. So now that I've drained it, just go ahead and place it right in there. Mozzarella, of course. So, with the Reggiano, I like to do this. I have a potato peeler, vegetable peeler, and I just like to peel. Look, I get nice slices. These are perfect for maybe putting on a salad. That goes really well like that, but it's gonna go really well inside of our lasagna. Oh my goodness. So let's get some more slices of cheese in here. And you can, if you get a big wheel like this, you can freeze it. It freezes very well. Just be sure you wrap it up, okay? That's important, so that the skin would not develop. It's quite hard not to eat this cheese as you're doing this. Okay, we've got enough cheese for that. For our ricotta cheese, I'm going to put an egg in there because it is kind of like a milky substance. So to put the egg in there, what I'm going to do is take one egg, break it on a flat surface like this. Place the egg into a bowl. Okay, we do that so the eggshell breaks in half. And then you want to take a fork or a little whisk and just mix it up really good. So this egg is going to help our cheese to firm up. In there it goes, into the sink. Italian parsley, we chopped it up really nice. Please use fresh parsley. Do not use that powdered stuff, the dry stuff. Okay, we want flavor, and everything we do is about the flavor. So now let's mix up the egg and the ricotta cheese and the fresh parsley. So we have grated our Parmesan cheese. We're now mixing up our ricotta cheese. The mozzarella cheese has already been grated. You can buy it in the store like that. Or if you wanted to, you can use your handheld grater and grate it as well. All right, let's do this. Mix it up. This is going to be so good. All right. Now comes the fun part. Assembling your lasagna. Let's move this off to the side for now. And I have here a lasagna pan. I'm going to spray it a little bit because I know when I put the sauce in it may want to stick to the sides. So a little olive oil spray will do the job. Now comes the sauce. Cover the bottom with some sauce. We are going to use lasagna noodles that are oven ready, which means they don't need to be parboiled. Spread your sauce around, make sure it gets all four corners. And then we take our lasagna noodles and we'll place them right there. 1, 2, 3. Now some fun part comes up. We're going to take our ricotta cheese and we're going to plop it there. Well, it really doesn't matter where. We're just going to plop it around so that we're going to squish it with the other noodles. But before we do that, we need to add some more cheese. So, Parmesan cheese. Look at that. Oh, a little bit more. Okay. Won't hurt. Mozzarella. Get some of that in there. Said it's going to be a 3-cheese lasagna, and I mean it. Get the lasagna. Oh, wow. Okay. Now, fun time. Squishing. 3 noodles. And squish. Squish, squish, squish. Squish. All right. And then what are we going to do? Repeat. More sauce. So this sauce has the vegetables in there and all those good flavors. Mushrooms, zucchini. Oh, wow. What can I say? It is just going to be a wonderful combination. If you have leftovers, if such a thing exists in your house, this freezes up just beautifully. So keep that in mind as well. All right, another layer. Do this. And more cheese. And some more sauce. I'm going to put more cheese on top of this as well, because when I put it in the oven, we're going to have a nice cheesy lasagna. You want to be sure to check our YouTube channel for this wonderful tomato sauce that I made, because you're going to want to use it for so many of your cooking. Okay, I have this lid, so just before I put it in the oven, I'm going to spray the lid because I don't want the cheese to stick to the top. I want the cheese to stay in the pan, right? So spray it with a little bit of olive oil, there, and put the top on like this. And it's ready to go in the oven, but first I want to tell you something I like to do, because I don't like to clean ovens. I'm going to put it on a sheet pan, like this. And then put it in the oven. This way when it bubbles over, it won't go into the bottom of the oven and I have to clean it. All right, let's put this in a preheated 375-degree oven. Should take about an hour. Our vegetable lasagna came out of the oven. Look at it. We took the lid off. Because it was a tight-fitting lid, it actually rose. The steam from the sauce and the vegetables was just coming up. It rose up. It came down a little bit because I tell you what we did. We took the top off and we said, look at that. We left it in the oven for another 10 minutes. Let the cheese brown a little bit, okay? I think we added some more cheese on top, but don't tell anybody. All right. How do you know it's done? I know sometimes I want to cut through and check if the noodles are done. Put a thermometer in there. 165. It's done. Now, if it's over 165, it's great. Anytime you're making a casserole dish, anytime you're using anything ground up, okay, even if you're reheating food, it's got to be at least 165 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. We checked this out. I got 172, 173 over here. I know it's done, okay? So, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to plate it. We got to eat it. But I got to show you what it looks like on the inside. You're probably saying, well, that looks good, but, all right. Here's the other part. Here's the other but. And please stick around to the end because I'm going to show you a really neat way to decorate your zucchini lasagna, all right? So, here we go. We did spray the sides, but that cheese just wants to stick. So I'm just going to go around and kind of release some of it from the sides. Now, I'm going to make a nice little slice here. And always, whenever you're making lasagna, you know, you're going to have it want to stick to one another. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a cut, and then I'm going to go back and complete the cut, okay? This is a vegetable lasagna. It smells absolutely great. You're going to feel good by eating all your vegetables. You won't feel good about the cheese, but that's another story. And then I'm going to go ahead and see if I can scoop this out without tearing it up too much. A little bit's going to seep out, but that's cool. We're going to be okay with that. Let's get underneath there. Get it up. All right, come on. You can do it. Hey, you hear that? It released. Wow. Oh my goodness, that is a helping and a half. Can you see that? Can you see the cheese, the vegetables? Oh man. Look at the steam coming from it. This is a meal and a half. You don't even need any meat, but I'm going to show you a really neat way to decorate it, okay? Check this out. This is the zucchini that I have, okay? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a little easy square on the bottom so it sits up tight. And then I'm going to make a series of connecting V's. Check this out. A V here, and a V here, and a V here, and like that. I'm just going to go around connecting V's. I don't know if you can see that really good. V, V, V's. They have to connect, and you go about halfway in. Okay, we're almost around. Let's see where we at, right here. Good. Now, that looks nice there, but check this out. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a little piece and peel it like this, and then I'm going to go underneath like that and come back like that. I told you need to stick around to the end of this video. You're going to learn so much. I have so many culinary tricks and treats to show you, and I want to share every one of them with you. This is my goal in life, to share, to make all of these wonderful things happen. So we're creating a kind of a floral effect, right? When you do things like this with your food, your guests will know that you've spent this little bit of extra time and attention to details, which even makes the meal that much more pleasurable and enjoyable. Okay, let's do one more over here. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? We put a stand up. So, we didn't just make a lasagna, we made a vegetarian lasagna, or you can even call it a zucchini lasagna. Now, as always, with all of our recipes, we certainly want to share. So, share this with your friends, share this with your neighbors, share this with your family, because this is so good, you're going to want to. The recipe is in the description below, okay? Please like us, like us, like us. It's so important because I want to share with you. I want to get back to you and tell you how much I appreciate that. Definitely you want to sign up for us. We have, I got to stop talking because I'm getting too hungry. Remember, when you're looking at Chef Don McMillan's recipes, they're always simple and they are delicious.